This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Oh, it's been so long. 345 days since the 2018 season concluded. We've waited in anticipation to commence proceedings for the highest level of esports and simulation racing for Rallycross as we welcome you to the Atlanta Motor Speedway, located in Georgia in the United States of America. It's the 2019 Thrustmaster iRacing Rallycross World Championship, the venue of Atlanta hosting the opening round of a 9-round weekly championship that ends in Atlanta again on the 30th of November. Coverage throughout the season will be on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on the iRacing Esports Network on our associated platforms around this Atlanta. 1.5 kilometers, 0.9 miles, depending on your units of choice. It's the first time we head here in the Rallycross World Championship. This circuit brand new to the service just 12 months ago. It includes 8 convoluted corners. The track is entirely tarmac for the opening half, medium speed corners, and then we begin the gravel portion of the lap through the middle sector. The jump is towards the end of the final corner. You can see at the bottom left-hand side of the screen there. That ends the lap with a thrilling sight as the cars bounce and land onto that start-finish straight. Lap times today registered around the 44 to 45 second range. The Joker Delta, 8 to 8.5 seconds. The start line located right here along the back straight. Good afternoon, everybody. Jonathan Simon on hand in the commentary booth. Randolph Cheneth alongside me. We are your commentary team for the 2019 season. And Randy, welcome along again. We have Paul Smith and our entire RaceSpotTV crew behind the scenes. But Randy, there's the series schedule. We head to Atlanta, like I said, for the first time in this championship. We're using the long layout. It ends 9 weeks later in the short layout. But this is a fan favorite amongst the drivers.
Yeah, it's a big week, isn't it, for Atlanta and even the state of Georgia in general on iRacing. We have the iRacing Petit Le Mans happening right now. That's, of course, happening over at Road Atlanta. This, of course, taking place in the infield of Atlanta Motor Speedway. But, yeah, it's going to be a really fun track to really use for the season opener. First time we're seeing it in this major level of competition. And, of course, the new circuit to this championship coming in from last year. Going to be an absolute blast to see these cars work. And it's a relatively long Joker Delta, and those tend to be some of the most fun to watch.
Most certainly. And talking about drivers, Mitchell de Jong returns to defend his title. How about that? The former X Games gold medalist and former real-life rallycross driver returns to hopefully claim a second title to his name. He'll be joined by Joni Heikkinen, his title rival, who is looking to challenge him and claim his first championship. And what about an ever-improved Johan Harth? Our problem is, Randy, we only have one championship to hand out at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's also true. We have a handful of drivers, like you said, that look like they could be easily the favorites going in, and other names as well. Stelian Chepelewski, I know he's been putting in a ton of practice, and he's definitely quick on the practice time at the moment, as we're about a minute away from opening up qualifying. But it's going to be, I think, a much more intense championship this year. I think this time zone change for the series is really going to do it a lot of good, and I think it's really going to crank up the competitiveness of everyone involved with this series.
And talking about your champions, they will have prizes on offer, of course. The series this year paying $25,000 in total cash and prizes. That will go to your top 10, Randy, and it means the stakes are ever so high here for not just round one, but every single week, because we do not have drop weeks this year.
That I love. We've gotten rid of that across all the world championships we've had, the drop weeks. it always added some confusion to the system of trying to mathematically add up who is leading and who wasn't. And then generally at some point in the season, there'd be an arbitrary cutoff where it's like, okay, there's no more drop weeks from here on out. I love just getting rid of them. It's just a straight up 9-race championship. However, that definitely does kick up the intensity level. We've seen that in the World of Outlaws Championship and in the USAC Championship that's happening now. Relatively similar lengths, 10 races in World of Outlaws, 9 races here. If you have one bad race, Johnny, without a drop week, it really is truly going to be a championship killer for all these guys. You're going to have to be consistent, and it's going to really come down to who makes the feature event every single week for this championship as track opens up for qualifying and drivers start heading out. I think Johan Hart is going to be the first one to start a timed lap.
Yep, it's our first qualifying session for the season. Welcome along if you're joining us for the first time in this championship. The 2018 season was such a thrill. I can't wait to kick off 2019, and here we are. This is the Apex Racing Team driver of Johan Hart. He's made the switch this season to the Apex Racing Team, and they're in a partnership with Subaru Winter Experience. And this is one of the most funnest corners out there at Atlanta. But for Johan Hart right now, not only does he have that real-life partnership with Patrick Sandell, but they also have an ever-quick team this season. Not only is he driving for the Apex Racing Team, he's got Chepalevsky to join him, and rookies John Robertson and Kevin Carlisle.
They're going to be really good, I think, and Johan is a driver that was very good last season. He's going to come through and basically take his first hot lap, and he's going to go second quickest on the trot at the moment right now. And Sammy Matty Trogan, quick time right now, 3/10 up on anybody. Only driver into the 43s, everyone else in the 44s.
Yeah, very quick time from Sammy Matty Trogan. Real-life driver, of course, received a wildcard entry this year. Just due to his real-life experience there, the Finn, and he's a rookie himself. So whilst we have old faces that return, there's a lot of new faces to learn, and he's one of them, Randy, already impressing.
Yeah, I mean, whatever he did was absolutely enormous. No one's even close to hitting down in towards the 43s just yet. Mitchell DeYoung currently sits second quick at that 44.102. Right now we look at Bobby Zielinski, who's taken part in a myriad of competitions thus far this year. We know he's going to be in the Final Four at Homestead for the finale of the eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series this coming Thursday. He's also been in the Porsche Esports Super Cup, and now we see him here in the Rallycross Series as well, as he's going to come through, and he's actually going to go second quick. He'll go above Mitchell DeYoung. Severe Esquenda Sinsport, they bring out a new big name, it looks like, as Bobby heads to the top of the timesheet, but Audi Taskinen, he goes second quick as well.
How about the 3 Finns there in the top 3 positions? All SET drivers doing quite well at the moment. Sammy Matty Trogan and his teammate Joni Heikkinen, they're in first and third. And here's Sammy Matty on screen for the moment. Now, I tell you what, though, Otto is an incredibly quick talent, and I spoke to Julian Shine before the race, Randy, former rallycross driver in this championship last season, and he spoke to me. He said, look out for Otto Taskinen. He reckons he's been the most underrated so far coming into round 1.
Definitely a driver we're going to have to keep an eye on here as qualifying gets ready to come down to a close. About 2 minutes left of it, and still a couple drivers we have to see to put in lap times. Matt M. Adams from Norris Force Racing, he's yet to put in a lap. He's out there on his first hot lap right now. Michael Guest as well out there on the racetrack in his Subaru. So a couple drivers down near the bottom who've yet to put in laps. Matt Adams actually going to bail out of his, but Michael Guest goes through that quick chicane section. Now he's going to head up towards that bull hairpin that we have here. He's currently on his second of 3 laps, so the first one didn't count for him. He needs to get this second one in, though. I'm not sure if he'll have time to do a third.
I'm not sure. Only 3 laps maximum allowed in qualifying for the drivers. It's a short 5-minute session. How about Johan Hart into the second position? Now, of course, due to the drivers we have, there's 26 licenses this year. We're going to have 3 heats for the drivers coming up. So this qualifying session sorts out the grid for the heats. Of course, we'll give you the session format on the heats later on, but the top 2 will advance to the feature race. The rest will head to 2 consolation races, which will decide the rest of the order for that final feature. That's where the most points are being paid, Randy, in that feature race, and it means that qualifying begins your event because it gets you that perfect grid position for that 10-lap feature.
Yeah, it does. And of course, some points being handed out in qualifying and the heat races as well. Bit of a change, no points in the last chance qualifiers. So that's why there's so much of an emphasis on getting yourself into the main event here. Because if you don't, it's a huge, huge hurt on the points totals as we still wait in about, 20 seconds left. Matt Adams is not going to take a qualifying time here. So not the way the North Force Racing driver would like to start his championship, as 10 seconds on the clock. He won't have the opportunity to finish out here. But Sammy Matty Trogan, phenomenal time from the wild card entry to take pole position by 0.03 of a second over everyone else in the opening round.
Well, he's quick in the real world, and it translates to the sim. This is why it's called simulation racing. Let's take a look at your Heat 1 grid for the first time in 2019, and it includes your pole sitter, Sammy Matty Trogan for SET Esports, Josh Fox moving from Fusion Racing to the Williams Formula 1 team with Williams Esports. How about Zelensky in new colors for Coanda Simsport? Yorgi Zadzon remains a privateer and will start alongside Zelensky. They'll be followed by Tommy Halleman and Marcus Matamoros, the Spaniard, starting down the order here in our heat. We have 9 drivers for heat number 1. The rest of the grid includes Daniel Matrani, Phil Diaz, and Matt Adams, as Randy said, was yet to set a qualifying time. Now, Randy, the start of the lap, or the start of the race, I should say, begins in the middle part of the lap. So, like you coined last year, the famous phrase, the last corner is ironically the first corner.
Yeah, it is, and it's going to be difficult. It's a fast transition to the fast entry, and you transition from asphalt to dirt in the center of it. This is going to be a hectic start as the revs start to build.
Here we go, lights illuminate. Oh, it's been so long, everybody. The 2019 season is go! Brilliant jump by Sammy Matty Trogan. He remains untouched by Josh Fox around the outside. Oh, has Fox blown it? Fox almost blew it into the final corner, and there's chaos looming behind.
Ton of chaos. Yuri Zadzon gets caught up in the middle of that, but your top runners are going to cycle through. Sammy Matty Trogan's going to hold on to the race lead. Bobby Zelensky up 1 on the start, cycles into second as they head through this tight chicane for the first time, and they get ready to go through this dirt bowl corner. Reminds you in a lot of ways of some of the dirt oval stuff we have to sim, but here we go. Drivers taking to the Joker early. Both Bobby Zelensky and Sammy Trogan, both of them hit the Joker on the first lap.
And that's an important Joker. They'll save about 8 to 8.5 seconds, and there'll be clean air for both your leaders. Now, Josh Fox didn't take to the Joker, and what we have this year, Randy, is a new feature. At the top of the screen, once they actually cross the start-finish line, if that red cross turns into a green tick, it means they have taken the Joker. There it is, refreshing for the moment, so you can keep track of all your drivers in each 2019 race. But now all eyes are on Josh Fox and whether or not he'll take the Joker this lap.
I don't think he should. I think he should sort of sit out there for a little bit and just log some laps, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to go through this tight hairpin. A couple cars in the background will cycle through, but this is a similar situation to what we have at Iowa. At tracks like Daytona and a couple of the other tracks, Sonoma as well, the Joker's only worth a couple of seconds, and because of that, if someone behind you take it, they're basically going to become traffic. Here, that delta is so large that if someone behind you takes it, they're going to be well and truly clear up the road, and you're still able to have clean air. So Josh Fox cycling right now the way he is, he'll be able to just log some hot laps and hope he can jump Bobby Zelensky at the moment. That has to be his minimum target here to get into the top 2 to transfer, as we're already working lap 3 of 5 of heat race number 1.
Yeah, wow, what a thrilling corner. This is Zelensky in the VRS Coanda Simsport car. And Zelensky this season, Randy, should make an improvement. You know, he's got Mitchell de Jong, his teammate, and some access to World Championship data.
Yeah, he definitely does. Bobby in the Peak Series last year started kind of working as a backdoor VRS Coanda Simsport driver. They ended up bringing him in this year. We've seen the likes of Mitchell and Martin helping him in that championship, and we've seen him as well, as I said, in the Porsche Esports Super Cup. I think he occasionally filled a couple rides as well, as we saw Josh Fox actually hit the Joker lap that last trip through, and he was too short, so he's going to have to somehow reel in a couple car links and throw a move here on Bobby Zelensky here in this final lap as we're coming towards the end of lap 4.
Wow, this is going to be ever close. 2 to go here for Heat 1 for the first time in 2019. Now, of course, only your top 2 head to the feature race, and I thought Fox almost blew it into the barriers. The Williams Esports driver under pressure here, but he has to remain calm, Randy, because he'll still have good grid position heading into the consolation races.
That definitely is the case here. Still have a couple other drivers as well that owe Joker last, but I think they're so far down the order that they're not going to be able to make much of it. As coming through the middle sector of the lap, Matty Trogan just has to stay perfect here, and he'll be on for a great qualifying, a great heat race, and perfect starting position for the first feature of the season.
Wow, has he impressed the rookie. We know Jacques Villeneuve had a brilliant rookie season. Lewis Hamilton the same. How about Marc Marquez? You come to Rallycross and you say Sammy Matty Trogan was going to win the first heat. Put it on pole. That was never expected. The finish line looms for the Finn, and he wins the first heat of the season. He'll head straight to the feature along with VRS Coanda SimSports' Bobby Zelensky in the second position. Josh Fox and company will head to the consolation races. So everybody there, Randy, on screen, of course, a lot of Subarus being run, but everybody from Josh Fox below will head straight to the consolation races. Still a chance.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like you said, a very Subaru-dominated championship here. A lot of the drivers liking the Subaru through the heat races, and having a good heat race, that just sets you up nicely for a much, much better feature race based on where you start. But heat race 2, getting gridded up right now. How about you take us down our starting grid?
Yep, Johan Harth, who is looking to make a step up in 2019. He's been tipped by his peers to do so. He's joined by Joni Heikkinen, who just fell short of the championship in 2018. Chepalevsky returns. Good old Stallion. He'll start from third, followed by rookie Kevin Carlisle, as well as Bobby Sant Jr., Matthew Madigan, Garrett Maines, and Cedric Gesmeyer, who returns to the season and retained his license from last year. Engines rev. Lights illuminate for Heat 2. And we go green for 5 laps of action again. Oh, don't tell me there's going to be argy-bargy between the ART car and the SET Esports car. Wow, huge shove down the back of the pack. I'm not sure who that was. Was that Chepalevsky being tagged by his teammate possibly?
Maybe. We have a car out early on the right-hand side. I can't quite see who it is following the jump, but big drama as they try to go 3 wide over the jump, but it didn't quite work out. But your leaders, they start getting themselves set out single file as quickly as they can, as Joni Heikkinen is quickly falling down the order as he takes to the Joker with basically a gang of others going through on towards the front straightaway.
Oh, that was hilarious. They all went for the Joker on the first lap. And that's the problem, Randy. You would have expected one of these drivers to at least take to the banked hairpin, but they didn't.
Well, a couple of them did. Garrett Baines did, it looks like. He currently runs 7th, and I believe Gesmeyer did as well. He was the other driver I saw. So those are the 2 who didn't take the Joker, and you're absolutely right. I think these guys a little over-aggressive trying to take to the Joker on the first lap. I don't think it's great, strategy in general. There's no point in going through there side by side, all argy-bargy style, but you can get through and have clean running like the likes of Garrett Maines and Cedric Gesmeyer. The car we saw, by the way, who got caught up in that major incident, the Subaru, that was Bobby Sant Jr. in the Jim Beaver Esports car, a new team coming in to this year, of course. We saw them in the eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series, and Jim Beaver, of course, all sorts of history in American off-road racing, especially running the likes of trophy trucks and the like. But good to see him taking part in this championship this year as well as your leaders once again through that tight chicane.
And these are 3 Apex Racing Team Subaru Winter Experience cars in your top 3 positions. It looks like Carlisle, will he play team orders and allow Harth and Chepalevsky through to the feature? Because if he starts to scrap with these 2, he's going to allow an ever-quick Matthew Madigan and an ever-angry Joni Heikkinen here after his poor start. They're going to have a chance to head to the feature. That's not what you want.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that, but I'm going to go ahead and say this, is that if I'm any of these drivers right now in this opening round, there are no team orders just yet as far as I am concerned. So definitely not even worried about that. If I see an opening, I don't care if it's my teammate or not, I'm sending it. That said, Stillian able to open up a bit of a margin here, so I don't think that's going to be the option. One thing we have to, I think, keep an eye on, though, is that number 1 car of Garrett Maines. He is not yet taken to the Joker, and he's only right now showing about 6 seconds off the back of I take that back. He has just taken the Joker, Johnny.
No, he must have, that must have refreshed as you were saying it. So Garrett Maines at the top of the screen, you can see the green tick means he's taken to the Joker. Only Gesmeyer hasn't taken to the Joker. Bobby Sant Jr. is a DNF. Now, did you see how feisty Joni Harkinen got on the main straight last time round? He's got about a second here to Kevin Carlisle in third. I don't think he's going to have enough time to pick off the ART driver.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I don't think he's going to have nearly enough time, especially here working this final lap. The gap is pretty large, but maybe if the two teammates here on this final lap get argy-bargy, the 72 of Carlisle has reeled in Stellion, and Stellion's a little bit wide through that big bank hairpin, but able to carry the speed nicely off the corner. But right now, it's all Johan Hart who's doing his best to live up to the hype coming into this year.
And a huge moment for Carlisle through the middle of the long left-hander. It's, while he's lost an immense amount of time, he should keep the third position. Hart will win his first heat of the season. The Frenchman goes through to the feature. He's joined by Bulgaria's Stelian Chepelevsky. Those are the only two drivers to advance. Carlisle and Heikkinen remain in third and fourth, so they'll head straight to the consolation races. And you can see the three Volkswagens behind of Madigan, Maines, and Gesmeyer will end up heading straight to the consolation races, of course. The Jim Beaver esports car of Bobby Sant Jr. with a D and F to his name. And Paul, that's not good. Not Paul. Randy, that's not good for confidence, and it's not good for rhythm.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that as we take a look at this starting grid for Heat 3, and a lot of big names happening in this one as well. But man, oh man, the first couple of heats, Johnny, they've been absolutely amazing. This track's looking really good and really racy.
We finally get to see 2018 champion Mitchell de Jong here in this heat. He starts behind Otto Taskinen. How about number one draft pick, technically, of John Robertson? He won the pro qualifiers. We'll get to see him for the first time. He'll be joined by Adria Perez, the rookie, Connor Parisi, Nathan Lyon, Garrett Lowe, and Michael Guest. Those are familiar names. They return for 2019. Engines rev, lights illuminate yet again. And we go green for the final heat of the day. And that's a screaming start by Mitchell de Jong. Taskinen went nowhere off the line. He's going to be swamped by everybody else behind. Here they head through the final corner at Atlanta, and they will begin the first lap here over the jump, landing quite cleanly on most of the field behind. But that was a poor start by the Finn.
It's a great start, though, from Garrett Lowe. He started in 7th, and he's currently worked his way up towards P number 4. You see it right now ahead of the Subaru of Connor Parisi. That's the other Jim Beaver Esports car representing this championship. As you see right now, here goes the split. Some drivers hit the Joker, a couple others don't, though.
Yep, and that's important for the positive sim racing driver here of Taskinen. De Jong will lap away cleanly. Can Taskinen no pip him? He hasn't had the best of middle sectors here. And John Robertson, the hungry rookie, is looking to bump and run through Atlanta, but there's no room through here. And that's the problem with this circuit, Randy, is that there's very limited overtaking spots. As much as it's a fun circuit to drive, your best overtaking spot is really around here at turn 1 and possibly heading into this next left-hander into the gravel section.
Definitely is. As here we go, another driver takes to the Joker. That's going to be the Apex Racing Team Subaru Winter Experience driver of John Robertson. The first two cars to Joker, by the way, were Adria Perez from MSI Esports and Mitchell de Jong of VRS Command Sinsport, who currently has himself a nice big lead there out in front of the pack. Odie Taskinen and most of everyone else in this current race still owe us Jokers, but things are tight back there. We're running the last 3, 4, 5 cars in the running order that still owe us the shortcut.
Yeah, and remember, they're ever experienced here from the 2018 championship, so no nerves, nothing that's going to make them choke in terms of decision-making here in this big first event. And that can get to you, doesn't it, Randy, sometimes? Just some of these rookie drivers on the world stage for the first time as Taskinen screams through the Joker. The nerves can get to you, and how about that? I think he might be able to slot himself past Robertson.
Indeed he did. That was a great Joker timing by Otto. He had just a little bit of an opening, but they're not done yet. And Otto's going to just about lose out that position. But here they go, going side by side over the jump. And not maintaining speed on the landing means Otto's going to lose out that second spot. And now can he find any way past Robertson towards the end of this race?
And we ride on board with Taskinen. Already taken to the Joker, so he's not going to be able to steer right there. How about this fun double apex right-hander here at Atlanta? Now, he may have to bump and run, Paul, because the final corner, just due to the trail-breaking nature, it's very difficult to overtake here, like we said.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that one, as Robertson and Taskinen are still all over each other. We still have one driver, I think, notably that owes us a joker. That's Garrett Lowe, and he's very tight to the delta of being able to take over Robertson and Taskinen. So if these two get argy-bargy, look for Garrett Lowe to possibly take advantage in towards this tight chicane section. Looks like that's not going to be what they do on this final lap as they work through in towards this fast high bank hairpin. Is Taskinen going to be able to open up anything? No, not going to get close. Let's see when Garrett Lowe takes a joker here. Will he be anywhere near close enough to be able to throw an out braking maneuver down towards the end of this straightaway? That Ford Fiesta is going to have a lot of speed, but what's happened?
Whoa, Lowe almost into the wall, Randy. Sorry, I got a bit excited there as he was pushing to the barriers, but that's the end for our final heat of the day. Mitchell de Jong wins. What a familiar sight that is. And the VRS Coanda SimSport driver heads through to the feature, along with rookie John Robertson from the UK. Brilliant result from those two, but for Taskinen, Randy, the start costed him, didn't him?
Definitely did. You have to get a good start. We saw it. He didn't get a great launch going down in towards that first corner. Nearly got swallowed up 4 wide. And, well, Mitchell de Jong, defending series champion, he was there to take advantage. His last chance qualifier number 1. Grid is going to be coming by right here, right now.
Very rare to see a Fiesta out there in the field, but nevertheless, we have to move to our first consolation race, and it includes Williams Esports' Josh Fox. Don't forget, a former feature race winner in this series. He'll be joined by the drivers of Otto Taskinen, who just raced. He's already going to have to get back out there. Then it's Heikkinen, Matamoros, Parisi, Maines, Daniel Matrani, Michael Guest, and Bobby Sant Jr. We're going to say goodbye, Randy, to 7 of these drivers here today. But for the moment, the engines rev, the lights illuminate. Only 2 advance to the feature. This start is ever critical. We go green for the first consolation race. And they're all slicing and dicing for position into the first corner. But that's an important start for Josh Fox, who has track position. How about Heikkinen shoving his way through? Brilliant start for the Finn.
Oh, big pile up behind, though. From about 4th on back, we have 4 or 5 cars all stopped on the straightaway following the jump. Huge incident there for all of those guys, and I think a couple of those were drivers that ended up losing out in their first heat races as well on the first lap. But I think notably, Otto Taskinen caught up in all that. That's going to see him basically guaranteed not to continue his day after this first LCQ. But right now, it's all Josh Fox and Joni Heikkinen at the head of the field, and Michael Guest has slotted into the 3rd. The top 2 are the 2 that have jokered.
Yep, and you'll see that at the top of the screen. Once they cross the start-finish line, the red X will change to a green little tick. Bang, there it is. And Josh Fox and Heikkinen look good to proceed to the feature race. But you never know here. Will something go on? You'd think of these two, and they're both experienced, both feature race winners in this series. You'd think they wouldn't slice and dice with each other and battle away, because that's just going to cost them more time and allow Bobby Sant Jr. an opportunity to head to the feature.
Yeah, that is the unfortunate truth right now. If you're Bobby Sant Jr., there's nothing in it for these guys to slice and dice with one another. It's actually, it's just sort of one of the shortcomings of the format right now. If you're Joni Heikkinen, the only gain you have by passing Josh Fox is basically you start a car length up the grid, maybe in front, and in some cases, you're only starting just instead of in, say, the bottom far right or the far left, maybe you're starting in the middle of the racetrack. So for right now, for Joni Heikkinen, really no risk, no reward for him to risk it. So for Garrett Maines and other drivers inside the this LCQ, they're going to have to figure out somehow, some way to put in some epic laps here through these next couple and time that joker to perfection, likely on the final lap, to have any hope of passing either of these two.
Man, I love Rallycross. That was such an awesome shot on board with Joni Heikkinen. And they both touched the grass there. And look at that thrilling side over the jump. But touching the grass there, Randy, it's not like Sonoma where it really gives you that advantage. At Atlanta, you can almost lose time by cutting the track there.
Yeah, that is true, but I mean, you're definitely coming through that final corner. You got the car on a slide, and I think just dipping those front tires onto that section. Look at that camera shot as they sweep through that banked right-hander and now through this long left-hander. Really is one of the most fun couple of sectors. Actually, in the background, I think that was Michael. No, that wasn't. I take that back.
Sant Jr.
That's Bobby Sant Jr. taking to the Joker, and he'll cycle up into third.
Close.
But yeah, nowhere near close enough.
Yeah, he's not even close. Bobby Sant Jr. We thought he had the opportunity, but the Joker here, Randy, about 8 to 8.5 seconds, like we said.
Yeah, you're right. He just sort of got outpaced in the last 3 or 4 laps, didn't he? He just, wasn't able to bring that gap down. I mean, he wasn't far off his 2.5 seconds, which I think is what the gap was after all the argy-bargying was going over the jump for that first time. But, yeah, it looks like unless Heikkinen and Fox close or one of them makes a mistake here, it's going to be game over for the first of our Jim Beaver esports cars. Actually, no, excuse me, both of them, as they were both in this same LCQ.
Yep, only the top 2 advance to the feature race. They'll have poor grid position, and for Heikkinen, that is not a good start to his 2019 campaign. But it's not where you start, it's where you finish. Josh Fox wins. He'll head to the feature. Heikkinen joins him. We say goodbye to Bobby Sant Jr. behind, as well as Marcos Matamoros, the rookie. Michael Guest with Joker, with a drag race to the line there. Michael Guest just ahead of Garrett Maines. That was very close, of course. And then you can see down the order, Daniel Matrani, Otto Taskinen with that collision at the start. Just didn't land the Subaru well at all. And unfortunately for Connor Parisi in that Jim Beaver Esports car, he's out of the race. Let's have a look at your final consolation race grid. And it includes Kevin Carlisle, the ART driver, ever quick, starting on the front row alongside Tommy Halleman. Garrett Lowe behind, then Matthew Madigan, Matt Adams, Adria Perez. Gesmeyer, the privateer, will start from 7th. It's a 10-car field, and it's wrapped up by Phil Diaz, Nathan Lyon, and Yorgi Zadzon. 26 licensed drivers in our 2019 campaign. Believe it or not, half of them are from the United States of America. Represent. I know you're probably happy about that, Randy.
Yeah, America.
Here we go, the final consolation race for the day. Another 5 laps of action, and we go green from Atlanta again. Carlisle needed that good start. Oh, they're getting argy-bargy behind. One driver is off the racetrack. On 2 wheels is Josh Fox. And somehow, oh, now it's just gotten even worse. Come on, guys.
Yeah, this was not a great start to that. Garrett Lowe got shoved off the track before they ever got to the first corner. Saw him down inside the grass. I thought I was going to have some flashbacks to some supercar action at Phillip Island. We've seen some unfortunately iconic moments of motorsport heading down in towards the Honda hairpin, where drivers get forced onto the grass and basically end up in the middle of the field and end up T-boning another car. Garrett was luckily able to sort of bicycle that car and get it underneath them, but it's something we've seen here, Johnny. All these grids, it's been a huge struggle for everyone to really keep off of each other on the opening lap, and you have to start to wonder as we head towards this first feature, is that going to continue? Seems like of the 5 races we've seen, 4 of them we've seen a big pile up on the landing of the jump, or if anything through turn 1.
Yeah, exactly. And nevertheless, driving standards have been pretty good today, which is good to see. And looking at who's taken to the Joker, Phil Diaz has that green tick, but he's all the way down the order. This is a replay with Phil Diaz. So what's happened to him here? Oh, he's just stopped? What's gone wrong for Phil Diaz? He's just stopped there, Randy.
That's weird. I don't know if maybe he was thinking he might get a penalty for something. Maybe he was the one who was sort of the cause of all that drama. I have no idea what in the world would have just happened. Maybe, but he's sort of, oh, we got another car off. That's a white Volkswagen. It's the 19 of Cedric Gesmeyer. So Cedric going to get that car back going and back forward. Let's see what happened here. You see Phil Diaz, who we just saw had that quick start and stop, but doesn't seem like that Phil's involved in this, and just tapping that wall on the left-hand side just forced him down in towards that hill. But right now, it's all Kevin Carlisle and Tommy Hallman, your top 2. Matt Adams has recently jokered. He's already settled in towards 3rd. Adria Perez might be someone to watch here, as he, I believe, still owes us a joker in the currently, I think, in the 5th spot, and indeed he does. And he's about 9 seconds back. He's right on the cusp of that delta, Johnny.
He certainly is.
Oh,
we'll
but
keep an eye on that.
Turn 1.
Oh, no. Poor by him for the moment. This is, who's this on screen? That's Adria Perez. Adria Perez in the 5th position right now in the number 97. He's got a damaged VW. Now, once the drivers pick a car for the season, Randy, and once they race it in their first round, the new rule for this year is that they cannot change the car midway through the season. They'll have to stick with this car for the entire campaign, and that will be the same for Adria Perez and that MSI Esports Volkswagen. He'll be in the Volkswagen Beetle for all 9 weeks.
Yeah, and I love that rule change coming into this season. It's one of the things I really wasn't a fan of last year, drivers being able to switch cars around. Yeah, there was some decent variety because of that last year, and because of the rule, we have a lot of people who've just gone for what is the fan favorite, it seems like, the Subaru, so definitely the very Subaru-heavy field. But I love the fact that drivers are going to be locked into a car all season rather than being able to pick and choose. Now, if he's got any hope, this is Adria's chance, last lap, to be able to joker and pick up a spot, but I don't think he's going to be close enough, but Tommy might have to watch out.
No, it's close, but not close enough. Adria Perez will end up in 3rd. Now, we do have 1 corner to go, so let's not call the finish this early on. But for Kevin Carlisle and Tommy Hallman, Carlisle heads through to his first feature race of his career in his rookie season. How about the 19-year-old of Tommy Hallman? Brilliant result for him. He heads straight through to the feature. We'll have to say goodbye, though, to Adria Perez, Matthew Madigan, and the rest of the drivers who came home behind. Here are your final race results, Randy, for the consolation race this afternoon. And a poor day, of course, for Otto Taskinen, like we said. No, these are the results from the last race, aren't they? Excuse me. So, we'll get those results in just a moment's time. There they are. There they are on screen, Randy. Kevin Carlisle wins in the Subaru. That's the most non-Subarus I've ever seen in a race.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that was the bulk of our non-Subaru drivers. You see 4 Volkswagens, 3rd through 6th, another one down there in 10th, and the Soul 4 Fiesta that's running this today, Garrett Lowe. So I think we're going to be in for an all-Subaru main event, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have a click through as drivers on track for the warm-ups right now, but I think it is. I think it's all Subis for this season opener, season finale, or day finale, excuse me.
And another rule change for this season, Randy, as we're currently in warm-up before our final race of the day, the 10-lap feature, is that there are no points being offered in consolation races, and I think you're a big fan of that.
Yeah, I don't hate it, definitely, but it's going to make it difficult if you really struggle to make the feature races, but there's going to be, I think, a number of drivers, we're going to get to the end of the series who have something like 20, 30 points because, you're only offered, maybe a couple points for your heat race finish, no points in the LCQ, and big points, of course, happening in the main event. So, so right now, these top 10 are going to be the top 10 in points heading out of here by a pretty wide margin. And you're likely going to see a couple people near goose eggs following this as well.
Yeah, oh, exactly. The Subaru is a very popular car amongst the drivers, but the problem is, Randy, is that it's the slowest car in feature race conditions when that track gets pretty worn. But the ironic thing is that to get to the feature, the Subaru is the best car in green track conditions. That's why we see 10 Subarus into the feature.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. Of course, all these cars, different wheelbases and different, some taller than others and some shorter than others, and it makes things very, very difficult on the vehicle dynamic side, and we're definitely seeing that they all perform slightly differently, and now the track's nice and worn in and going to have a lot more grip in it than when it was loose gravel on it earlier. As we head towards this starting grid, these Subarus are going to be duking out really hard, and let's see what the rookie of Trogan can put in.
The SET Esports driver will start from pole in his rookie event here. The real-life rallycross driver starts alongside Johan Hart. How about Mitchell de Jong, our 2018 champion? There's a challenge up ahead for him. He's joined by his teammate in the 4th position. Chepelevsky and Robertson start in 5th and 6th. The ART drivers are ahead of Josh Fox, the Williams Esports driver, splitting the teammates. For ART, Kevin Carlisle will start from 8th, and then rounding out the top 10 are the other 2 SET Esports drivers of Joni Heikkinen and Tommy Holman. Now, ladies and gentlemen, do not think that this wraps up the season. There is a lot of racing to go here. Engines rev, lights illuminate, and we go green for the final time at Atlanta. How about that getaway from Sammy Matty Trogan? De Jong has track position on Johan Hart. The Frenchman colliding with the American, but it's De Jong into that second position. Hart and Chepolowski. That's a huge pile up behind. Everybody's involved. It's a big one.
Bobby Zelensky has slotted through. He'll take the third spot because of that. Tommy Hallman, he's gotten through as well, so he'll be P4, but at the head of the field, clear of all of it, it's going to be your rookie, Sammy Matty Trogan, fighting with last year's champion, Mitchell de Jong. Sammy the rookie, he hits the Joker lap 1. Mitchell still owes us one, and Mitchell's going to have some lap traffic because of that pileup. Josh Fox is able to just get clear of him.
So this is important right now. This is the pileup still on screen. Oh, that's the big one. That's a huge one. Oh, and even drivers, was that one of the Apex drivers trying to make their way through? But this is, now we focus on Trogan, who's untouched in the lead. How about this? He's already got one hand on the trophy.
And look as well at Tommy Hallman. I believe he jokered as well on that opening lap after the incident. He started 10th on the grid and currently is cycled into second. We know and some craziness happens, he's not going to be a factor for the win due to the deltas already. I mean, he's 4 seconds off the race lead, and we know Mitchell still owes us a joke, only a couple of seconds back. Josh Fox up into P3 as well, but Mitchell all sorts of wide coming onto this back straightaway after that long left-hander just got all 4 wheels off onto the grass in that VRS coin of Simsport Subaru FTI, and now down the front straightaway having to keep an eye on what the gap might be. Again, we've been seeing deltas of 8 to 8.5 seconds all day, and right now Mitchell 8 seconds off Sammy Matty Trogan, so he's thereabouts in the window. And I think if you're Mitchell here, Johnny, you don't want to save this too long, especially if Sammy seems to have the pace advantage, and he's been picture perfect all day.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't mind what Mitchell is doing at the moment, but now he's got traffic up ahead. This is Josh Fox, the Williams Esports driver, a touch with a wall for the American. That's going to cost him critical time. Oh, when you talked about it, Randy, he should have gone for the Joker.
Yeah, that's just not good traffic management there by Mitchell. He should have jokered this time, seeing that he was starting to reel Josh in and open over the jump. Let's see what the gap has been extended out to in favor of Sammy Matty Trogan. He comes to, it's still within 9 seconds. 8.8 is what the gap was. So Mitchell de Jong, he's now closed back in on that Williams Esports car. He should take the, and he's not going again. This is a huge mistake by Mitchell. He just lost a second, and Josh Fox again, all sorts of loose, going through that dirt hairpin. We're starting to reel in the halfway point of this feature race already. The gap 9 seconds last time through, and Mitchell, after getting checked up all that time, you would have thought he would have taken the shortcut here.
Well, he's got real life experience in rallycross, so he must be relying on something for the moment to not take the Joker this time as we ride on board with our 2018 champion. He's an X Games gold medalist, is Mitchell de Jong in rallycross, and he's a Red Bull rallycross driver for many years, and here he is right now taking to the Joker. And where's he going to feed out? Looks like a clean slate of track up ahead, but more importantly, a couple of seconds behind Sammy Matty Trogan.
And he lost like 3 more tenths that last lap when he didn't joker. So I know we always talk about Mitchell having the experience and maybe he's relying on something, but I don't know what. We've seen it time and time again in this championship, Johnny, that clean track is what wins you these races. We saw what happened to Garrett Lowe at Iowa when he managed to pull off a race win. Mitchell, I think for no reason, he just sat behind Josh Fox for 2 laps. And in that 2 laps, the gap went from 8 seconds out to 9.3 thereabouts. He lost nearly a second and a half, and the gap right now between Sammy and Mitchell is a second and a half. So I think if he jokers a lap or 2 earlier, I think those two are side by side right now with 5 laps to go in this feature event.
And of course, thanks to Thrustmaster, series sponsor for the 2019 iRacing Rallycross World Championship. Thrustmaster joining on board for the campaign. They make some ever good products for sim racing, of course, from wheels and everything else. So check them out, of course. But Sammy Matty Trogan, if he wins this race, Randy, the 17-year-old will be the youngest ever winner of this series.
Yeah, and he's looking pretty strong right now. Mitchell is trying to reel him in and keep that from happening any way that he can as they come through that long left-hander and down the back straight once again. Gap last time, 1.3 seconds. Let's see if the Vira going to Simsport driver of Mitchell de Jong, when they come through start-finish, is about 3/4 of the way down this next straightaway, is able to bring in any of that time over the rookie of Sammy Matty Trogan. And the gap last time through grew by 0.08 of a second, so it grew, but not by much.
It's keeping him honest is Mitchell de Jong. You never know if the Finn will crack under pressure. I don't think any Finns do. Here's the double right-hander through the middle of the lap. It's one of the only rare corners in the series you'll see here on the calendar, Randy, where the drivers actually use the handbrake.
Yeah, you're right. Most drivers, you might see them use a handbrake at the starts on the grid, but besides that, there's not a lot of corners where people are really yoinking at the handbrake. It's one of the mistakes I think a lot of the drivers coming into the series do, and a lot of people even on the service. They get out there on one of these tracks and they think they're Ken Block in one of the Jim Connor videos, and they start yoinking the handbrake everywhere. And don't get me wrong, it's a ton of fun and it's a blast to do, but it's not necessarily fast. And if you're going to use it, usually it's just a quick dab, get that rear end kicked out, and then you move yourself on through the corner. And like you said, this is really the only place on the season you might see some drivers use it. You might see it a little bit as well at Indianapolis Raceway Park when we get there a little bit later on in the year. But coming up to the white flag here for Sammy Matty Trogan in the season opener, as Mitchell last lap was able to reel in 2/10.
A couple of jokers not yet taken. Johan Harth and John Robertson, the two ART Subaru Winter Experience drivers, yet to take the joker. Harth just took it, and he's currently in the 6th position, so didn't gain much time. How about Tommy Holman, though? From the last position on the grid, currently on our podium.
Yeah, just able to survive the pandemonium on that opening lap. But for Sammy Matty Trogan, half a lap down on this final trip around the racetrack, half a lap to go through the big hairpin for the final time, and now through this long left-hand sweeper. And Sammy Matty Trogan, he's got one more braking zone and a jump to do, and he's got the season opener wrapped up.
The 17-year-old Finnish rallycross driver received a wildcard license into the campaign, and he's proving his worth. The rookie, he becomes the youngest ever winner of the 2019 Thrustmaster iRacing Rallycross World Championship. He becomes our round 1 winner and leads the point standings. What an event it's been from the SET Esports driver. He drove calmly, he drove ever quickly, and he beat our 2018 champion of Mitchell de Jong.
Yeah, great running from Sammy Matty Trogan. I mean, he put in quick time in qualifying, looked phenomenal in his heat race, and here on the opening round in that feature race, just able to open up the gap, took to that joker early, and just didn't look back. Sammy Matty Trogan, one of the most impressive drives from the World Championships we've seen this year, and I think the Finnish driver's a little bit happy with that one.
Let's take a look at your final race results after that 10-lap feature event. And as we said, Sammy Matty Trogan becomes the youngest ever winner of the series by just over a second ahead of 2018 champion Mitchell de Jong. Not the worst way for Mitchell de Jong to defend his championship. Could have gone worse. You can see some other big names behind. How about Tommy Holman, who started last in the feature? He just received that spot, don't forget, in the consolation races by a couple of seconds. Ends up with a podium. How about that for sticking with it and not quitting halfway through the event? Bobby Zelensky in his first race for VRS Commander Simsport on Rallycross ends up in 4th. Josh Fox for the Williams Formula 1 team and the Williams Esports unit rounds out the top 5. For Johan Harth, many tip him to be one of the most improved drivers this season. Had it not been for that early collision in the race, who knows where he would have ended up. Only ended up 6th at the end of the day. Same for Joni Heikkinen, Kevin Carlisle, and Stelian Chebolevsky. Those drivers all involved in the early incident. And John Robertson, his day came to an end. The rookie tipped to possibly even win this championship will be lamenting that feature race here from Atlanta. So we'll take a quick short ad break. We'll join you shortly for post-race interviews with our top 3. Don't leave us. You're watching the 2019 Thrustmaster iRacing Rallycross World Championship. So welcome back to the 2019 iRacing Rallycross World Champions, sponsored by Thrustmaster. We have your top three stood alongside us. And first up is Sammy Muddy Trogan, who took victory. And Sammy Muddy, you become our youngest ever winner of the series. How about that, to win your first race of your career here? And all that Rallycross experience really helps. Now, one sec, we've just lost him, so we'll try and find him one more time. So, Sammy Muddy, do you have us? You're there, mate. Can you hear us? We'll give it one more shot. Otherwise, we'll speak to him in a moment's time once we sort out the technical issues. I think it's time, Paul, to probably head to Mitchell de Jong for the moment. We'll let Sammy Muddy sort out any technical gremlins he has. So let us drag in your second place finisher, Mitchell de Jong. His first interview of the day. He'll be stood alongside my co-commentator, Randolph Cheneth.
Mitchell, you come in today, defending series champion, and you had so many races last year that you just took pole and qualifying, won your heat, and won the feature, especially early on. This year, it doesn't look like it's going to go the same for you. A lot more competition coming into this. What's your mindset coming into this season in general?
Sorry, my audio was messed up. I didn't hear a word you said in that first question, but I'm here now.
Well, that's great. There's a lot more competition, it seems like, this year as opposed to last year. What's your mindset as the defending series champion, not only coming into today, but the season in general?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a different year, I think. Honestly, I haven't driven Rallycross for the whole year since the very last race last year until the week before this one. So it's been nice to, drive some dirt again. All-wheel drive cars, always fun. Yeah, just I guess trying to get back warmed up again. So we'll see. It was a close race today, so I'm happy with the result. I think it could have been a little better if we didn't lose out to Josh when he jokered early. So we could have been a little closer. Who knows how it would have ended up, but yeah, I think it's a solid, first start.
And actually talking about that, you ended up taking the Joker about 5 laps in, and Johnny and I were both we were watching the entire time because Sammy was just out at the head of the field, well and clear of everybody, so you were really the one to watch of when you would Joker. You got caught up behind Josh a couple of times, and Johnny and I felt that, you probably could have been a lot closer to you had you Jokered a lap or two earlier when you had the opportunity when Josh was already ahead of you. How much time do you think you lost behind Josh there? We saw one big lift coming through that long left-hander after the banked right-hand hairpin. How much time do you think you lost there behind Josh?
Yeah, I want to say at least over a second, maybe a second and a half or so. Actually, before that corner, I think he got into the wall in the banked right-hand dirt corner. That's when I actually really had to check up. So, yeah, unfortunately lost quite a bit. My plan was to just sit behind him pretty much till either I caught him or closer to the end of the race because I knew he had really good speed. So everything was looking good. I was just going to, try to close that gap a little more to Sammy. And then, yeah, but it didn't work out. So, I'll take second. It was pretty close, pretty good first round. Never driven here, so it was kind of cool to learn the track and how the track wore in. So that was different, but it was still pretty fun.
So we're going to move from a track that's difficult to pass at to a track that's nearly impossible to pass at as we head to Daytona Short. Mindset for that, qualifying in the heats are going to be hugely important.
Yeah, Daytona Short's an interesting one. It's not really the most technical. It's quite easy to be fast there, so expect the times to be insanely close. I think they're pretty close already today, but it'll be probably twice as close over there. So yeah, just need to do everything right. Qualifying's really important still, as you can see. So yeah, gotta get that first step done and then just run your race for the rest.
Well, congratulations to you, Mitchell, on a strong second place finish. Going to be getting good points from that for sure. Before we let you go, who gets it done for everyone involved there at VRS Commando Sport?
Yeah, big thanks to everyone on the team. For one, our spotters, Philip and Martin. It's cool they can actually be up at a normal time and spot for us now. So it's cool for that. And all our other teammates actually that helped a lot practice with us from the roadside and oval as well. Bobby did a great job today. And of course, our other partners. Red Bull for me personally, Virtual Racing School, N1 Design, SimQuip, RaceSpot, and VTech.
So there it was. Mr. Mitchell de Jong comes home in the second spot in the season opener. And, well, Johnny, who are we going to have up here third?
Well, we're going to have Sammy Muddy Trogan, who... Sammy Muddy, you got us this time? Can you hear us?
F.
You can't hear us one more time? If not, we're going to drag Tommy Holman, try and sort out our winner's microphone sometime soon, because we can't hear the man who just became our youngest winner for the series. So let us drag Tommy Holman. Tommy, surely you can hear us, mate. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, thank goodness. All right. So, Tommy Holman, welcome along to the post-race interview. Sorry, mate, you're out of context. We've had trouble getting Sammy Muddy to speak, but what an impressive event for you, man. You were about, 1.5 seconds away from being eliminated in the consolation race, and then you started 10th. You had some luck on your side with everybody else crashing, and a podium to your name. You would have never have dreamt of that coming into round one.
Yeah, thanks. It was really good luck to be on the 10th position on the grid, because after the jump there was some crazy mayhem and I could avoid it. I had some time to react, and but it was amazing as first race, so to be straight on the podium.
And the thing for you is you only joined iRacing this year, right? So this is, I mean, for you, you're one of the most inexperienced drivers out there, claiming a podium in his first career World Championship event. I'm severely impressed by that, mate. I don't know what it is. Is it your real-life experience coming into the sim?
Yeah, exactly. I started iRacing in April, and thanks to Set Esports for giving me the opportunity to do this. And I have some experience in real racing, in rallycross and rallying, but as a sim racer, I'm really a rookie.
And finally, who would you like to thank from who gets it done for you from the SCT Esports team?
Joni has given me a lot of great advice, and also Sami, and we have been doing a lot of testing together, and they have helped me with the setup because I still have no experience with that, and a big thanks to them to giving me the chance to be here today.
So that is Tommy Holman. Hopefully we see him yet again on the podium going into next week's round, Randy, and that round will take place from the Daytona International Speedway. The calendar will be up on screen there at the bottom left-hand side. Now, it's the short layout of Daytona, Randy, that we head to. Now, a lot of the drivers sort of criticize the layout for being difficult to overtake, but last year, our top 4 at the finish line were separated by 1.6 seconds, and we had a drag race at the finish line.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a very difficult track to pass at, but it is one of the few that that does mirror a real-life layout that was used. It's that track as well as the layout at Indianapolis Raceway Park. But it is going to be very difficult to pass. You really only have the one opportunity, and towards the that tight right-hander that the Joker shortcuts. Everywhere else, you don't really get enough of a run to be able to slot a move down. Not really any hard braking zones, and that sort of S's section they have is, you know, reminiscent of a street circuit, honestly. The way you come through there, not a lot of room, and shoulder to shoulder, it's relatively narrow. So it's going to be interesting to see how it works. I think we're going to see some argy-bargying there, especially some of the drama we saw in the early goings of this one today.
These 600 horsepower rallycross cars will be back racing again for the next race on the 12th of October. That's in a week's time, until we head to the Daytona International Speedway, and that hosts round 2 of the Thrustmaster iRacing Rallycross World Championship for 2019. Coverage will begin at 5:45 p.m. GMT on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on the iRacing Esports Network as usual. Visit RaceSpot.tv and iRacing.com for more information on upcoming events, and of course join in on the action. Visit iRacing.com to subscribe and gain a membership, and you can drive all these rallycross circuits yourself. From myself, Jonathan Simon, Randolph Cheneth, my co-commentator alongside me. Of course, thanks to Paul Smith behind the scenes in production. and of course Istvan Bello and the entire RaceSpotTV team and the crew for their work behind the scenes. We hope you enjoyed this RaceSpotTV presentation broadcasted on our associated platforms. Our winner today, Sami Matitrogan. We say so long from the Atlanta Motor Speedway.